you kind of look at today and you compare it to, decades ago, maybe when I was, growing up to even the time that I was a volunteer, the youth landscape has really changed to where there's a lot more for-profit entities that are in the mix.
Welcome to Sponsor Bowl, a podcast that brings together sports organizers and brand leaders to talk about the business of grassroots sports. I'm Garrett Shea, and I've spent 20 years in the youth sports industry, where I've built nationally televised sporting events and corporate sponsorship programs. I wanted to create this podcast to bring in experts from the youth sports industry and have them share what they do in the space and how they do it. On today's episode, we've got Rob Connor, VP of Babe Ruth League. All of our episodes on Sponsor Bowl have a lot of great insights. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can access all of the great information for your organization. Hey, Rob, thanks so much for joining Sponsor Bowl today. It's great to have you on. Certainly excited to talk about the business of grassroots sports with you.
Thank you, Garrett. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So obviously, looking at your great background, you see some great imagery of Babe Ruth, Cal Ripken. You're a VP at Babe Ruth National League. Would love to just kind of learn, how did you come into that position?
Well, I actually started out as a local league volunteer, going back to when I actually took the uniform off at my local league. I started cutting the grass and making sure that the field looked nice. And that was kind of my focus there in my very young years, in my teen years. And ultimately in my 20s, I ended up getting on the local league board of directors and getting involved more and more with some of the different projects that local leagues do as far as, maintaining the park and the facility and building new things. And it actually led to me becoming the league president for 10 years. And Babe Ruth found me because we ended up hosting a Babe Ruth Softball World Series in 2005 in my hometown. And they were looking for people. They asked about the potential of doing it on a full-time basis, out of the national office. And I said, you know what, I can potentially lead the volunteer ranks to come and work and do a passion that I enjoyed. And in 2006, ironically, right around this time, Babe Ruth asked me to come and join the ranks in January of 2006, and it's hard to believe in a blink. It's been 19 years already.
Wow, that is. So as you're running a local league to joining Babe Ruth National, maybe talk a little bit about what were some of the challenges as a league president that you faced there.
Well, fundraising is always a big thing. You always have grand plans. You want to make it nicer than the way that you found it. You want the kids to have a great experience and great memories that come out of it. So, obviously fundraising, being able to get revenue in, to be able to do some of those lofty goals that you would like to do. And then, the other challenge is finding that core group of volunteers that share that same passion, that same drive, that are focused on the entire picture of the league and not necessarily just one particular slice of it. And, when your league is, no matter how big or small your league is, you need people that are focused across the board, that covers from your oldest kids that are maybe your focus because they've been in the program, the longest, and then maybe they're getting close to aging out. But you got to build those relationships with the young people that are coming in and the young kids that are now going to be the future of your program for many years to come. And you want them to enjoy it so that they can come back and you can keep your numbers, in the program up.
So now, so you go from a local league president to Babe Ruth headquarters. And maybe fill everybody in about kind of how is Babe Ruth constructed on a national level, staff, offices, kind of, infrastructure.
Yep. So, with me coming from the local league all the way up to Babe Ruth, Babe Ruth always talks about sort of the chain of command that takes you from headquarters all the way down to the local league. And I obviously jumped several links in that chain going above. But our headquarters location here is in Hamilton, New Jersey. It was actually where our program was founded in 1951, known as the Little Bigger League at that time. And we have a staff of about 15 full-time people that are here all year round working, to support local leagues across the country and get ready for our World Series events and tournament trail each summer. And then below the local league are 8 regional commissioners that are actually members of our board of directors. They are all volunteer. They certainly run their regions, but also support our efforts at headquarters to, give us guidance and some direction at times. And then at the same time, once we want to turn around and decide that we're going to go in a particular direction, they help to implement that with the volunteer commissioners that are also below them, which are state district commissioners, and then all the way back down to the local leagues, which really is the biggest piece of our organization. Our organization has just over, it's well over 500 just baseball participants. We have another 200 some odd thousand softball participants, and that's just based here in the United States. Our program is international. We have about 15 to 20 countries that come and take part in our World Series events each year. And that's another area that is actually growing across the world from unbelievable countries. Last year, we had a team from Nigeria that participated in one of our World Series. And, of course, we have the staples of like the Japans and Australia and Korea that everybody sees in the World Baseball Classic and other types of events.
Yeah. So the global side of youth sports, I mean that's, that to me is such a powerful statement, how youth sports has, truly gone global, and it's brands like Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken, two of the most iconic brands in all of the sport, that are the face, if you would, of that global expansion. And so maybe just kind of reset for us a little bit. Just if you just run through those numbers one more time, just because I want to make sure they're clear for folks. As your baseball participation, your softball participation. Yeah, go ahead.
So on the baseball side, we are ages 4 to 18. 4 to 12 is our Cal Ripken division. And then Babe Ruth Baseball, which was our original division that started in 1951, that is ages 13 to 18. That comprises of 500 to 550,000 baseball participants annually across all the United States. And then we have another 250,000 softball players that also are ages 8 to 18 as well.
Great. So, I mean, just hundreds of thousands of kids playing baseball and softball. And it's the, your largest, it sounds like your largest participation base is the Cal Ripken division. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing because the Cal Ripken division didn't even start until 1982 when Babe Ruth created at the time what was called the Bambino division. And that was the first opportunity that the Babe Ruth program went below the age of 13 and worked with kids in the 5 to 12, now 4 to 12-year-old age group. And because of the relationship that Babe Ruth League has had, and our former president and CEO, Ron Tellefson, and of course, Stephen Tellefson, our present CEO, the relationship with the Ripken family led to Cal's name being lent to the program back in 1999. And so the Bambino division became the Cal Ripken division. And that's hard to believe that it's been that long already, too, since 1999.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, you've got great numbers. Obviously, in the world where youth sports participation seems to be contracting because of sports specialization, the Babe Ruth National League and Cal Ripken National Leagues seem to be, really flourishing, which is great to hear. As we talk about the business of grassroots sports, we look at, a number of different pieces. So participation is definitely one of them. Sounds like that is going very well for you guys. Maybe talk a little bit about technology and what has Babe Ruth from a national level done lately from a technology standpoint?
So our current partner is Sports Engine. We have worked with Sports Engine since 2012. And one of the great things, and is vastly different than when I was a league president back in the day, the days of coming to the clubhouse, on Saturday afternoons or Saturday mornings and waiting for kids and families to sign up is kind of an old pastime now. It's more of, mom and dad signing up on the desktop computer at home or at work or on their phone. And Sports Engine helps us greatly with that. Because it's able to collect all of the parent information, all of the player data that both the us at headquarters need, as well as what the local league is going to need. But then it also gives the ability for local leagues to be able to communicate to their membership. They're able to communicate initiatives from their local league program as the cleanup days and when's opening ceremonies, and we got rainouts, or we need a field crew to come and help with the fields, all the way to the manager or coach who's communicating with his or her individual team to talk about practice schedules, game schedules, who's maybe covering the snack bar on a given night, those types of things. So the technology has really helped to kind of make it easier for local leagues to manage and to be able to communicate. That was a lot more challenging back in the day.
Yeah, clearly the technology that's come into youth sports, has certainly helped improve the experience for the parents and likewise the players. I'm sure it's helped greatly the league officials, league administrators, and the coaches. But one thing I know it's helped to bring in some big corporate brands who now have the ability, as Babe Ruth headquarters can push a button and reach their parents and coaches across the country. Brands want that. And so, maybe talk a little bit about a couple of your current partners and how they work with Babe Ruth League.
Okay. So I'll give you one of our newest partners and then one of our oldest ones. One of our newest partners is Score Sports. They are our official baseball and softball uniform. And we were able to work with them to craft a program in which that they're able to work with the local leagues and the teams under them in order to outfit them from the most basic uniform, T-shirt and a pair of pants and a hat, all the way up to a fully sublimated, customized uniform for maybe what is all-stars and tournament play that some of the leagues need later on in the season. They also came into this program in which that they're able to, communicate, directly with the local leagues via the information that we get, from Sports Engine and from the signups that people have. And the other thing that they've done is they found a way in order to also work with the local leagues in order to maybe coax them into saying, hey, I think we want to use Score Sports, and it will make it easier when we go to share their information. They also crafted a program that would sponsor their local league, that some of the dollars would go directly towards fees that the local league pays, whether it's charter fees or just purchasing uniforms, discounts off of uniforms that the local leagues would buy. So it was really one of the first programs that would directly impact our local leagues, and it was really something that took some time to get together, but I think Score is going to do really well with this because it allows the local league to deal directly with the manufacturer, and I think and at the same time have a big company that's also going to support their local efforts.
Yeah, that's so unique because, and I've been in the sponsorship world for 20 plus years, and very rarely do you see the national brands figure out a way to create a program that gives back to the local leagues and do it at scale. And that's, I agree with you. I think one, it's going to be really impactful. I think the local leagues see that as they can actually see a financial benefit in working with Score. So, from a national level, you've got that national partner, but then the local leagues really feel that impact. I can't tell you. I mean, it's very, very rare that you find these companies that are able to connect those dots and figure out how to build a program like that. So that hats off to you guys for building that. That's a great one.
Yeah, and some of the feedback that we've already gotten from the leagues already has been, wait a minute, we actually have the ability to have a sponsorship from a national entity, and it's like, yeah, you do. This is, you didn't have to go and hunt down the local restaurant or local place nearby. You got one or two less sponsors to now go and get, and meanwhile your uniforms are going to hopefully cost a little bit less for you, and it's going to be less labor intensive for you.
Yeah. And I think that's where, I think too often, people that look from the outside and kind of analyze the national sports, national youth sports world say, hey, it's the Nikes and the Under Armours and the Adidases of the world. But the reality is those brands, when it comes to uniforms, they're just, they're too high level, from a price standpoint for most local leagues to purchase. So really it's great to find these value-based brands like a Score who creates a great uniform. They can design it, it's sublimated, and they can offer it at a price that, is actually doable for the local leagues. I mean, I can't tell you, I've never been to a local youth sports field and seen, everybody in Nike jerseys or everybody in, it's just that's not the reality. The reality of youth sports is that the value-based brands, that's really the fit. And as you know, like finding the right sponsors, it's finding that right strategic fit. It's, you go out and you pitch a Nike, it's just not, their business isn't aligned with youth sports. But you pitch a Score or you pitch somebody like a Score, and that is, that's a really well-aligned brand, for everybody.
And I think that, that's part of the sponsorship programs and stuff. And when you're working with business partners, like a Score, a Rawlings, a K&K Insurance, as some of the examples, even a Sports Engine, I know that our philosophy here at Babe Ruth League is that, we want it to be a partnership. It's not a one-sided, you have something, you're looking at us that you can maybe, get your product or brands to the local leagues. And we're going to try to help you find a way in order to do that. And we're going to, whatever is inside the box we'll work on first, and then we'll think outside the box and be open to, how to turn around and make it beneficial for everybody, for the sponsor or company that we're talking to the local league and to Babe Ruth League.
Yeah. And that, I mean, you hit it, right on the head on that one. It's that the partnership, the longevity and the working with brands over time to bring them in and show that they're authentic, I think it's critical for youth sports. And, you guys, you look at all of your partners. I know you mentioned Rawlings, who, how long have you guys worked with Rawlings?
I think we have been with Rawlings I think it's in excess of 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally unheard of. And it's the loyalty that I think Babe Ruth shows to partners and it's reciprocal, is there. But it's also like, I think brands that can understand that they've got to be authentic. They can't just fly in, push out a couple of emails and fly out and expect that, their business is going to get, all of a sudden instantly made. And that's, I think that's one of the more frustrating pieces of working in the, the sponsorship side of grassroots sports is too often do brands think it's like, hey, it's this magic pill or this, this overnight answer that's going to happen, and they're going to come in, be a partner. A year later, their business is going to, be greatly improved. It just, unfortunately, it takes so much time because parents want to know that a brand is authentic, and they really are, to your point, a partner. They're not an advertiser. They're, parents are that they're sophisticated. They can see very quickly the brands that are just kind of, flying in, trying to take their money and flying out. And that's one thing I look at Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken and say, man, you guys have the right brands and you've taken the right approach to partners.
Yeah, we're always trying to find ways in which that we can always improve our relationships. The other thing that we also do here is that we have long-term relationships. Rawlings is just one of those, those examples. We have K&K that we've been in business, working with them for 38 years. So, we try to make sure that, that it is a true partnership, that it isn't the idea that you're just advertising with us or linking up, riding in the car next to us and hoping that you're going to do well. It doesn't work that way. We want to find ways of always working together. And our goal is that if you're doing well, then obviously our leagues and us are going to do well behind it.
Yeah, I mean, and you point out K&K Insurance. It's, and that's one of the pieces. Like when people start to analyze youth sports, a lot of times they probably just look at the field down the road and say, well, that's youth sports. But it really, I mean, there's so much infrastructure and business that goes into running our business acumen and skill that goes into running truly a great national youth sports organization. Starts with, insurance, making sure that all of your leagues have an adequate amount of insurance, and you're getting great, risk management advice. And that's, as you think about your partners, I think about you've solved so many kind of pain points from here's a great insurance partner that's going to help your local leagues. Here's a great technology partner that's going to help your local leagues. Here's a great sporting good equipment partner like a Rawlings that's going to help your leagues. And that's, I look at it and say, man, you've figured out the right brands because that you've got the staying power, and you figured out the right categories. And that's, I think, as we think about business and sponsorship, partnership, it is that category approach. Like, how are you strategically thinking about categories? And I would say programs, and maybe share a few of your kind of marquee programs that you have, because I know you've got like opening day and World Series. And, as I look at your calendar of events and kind of, key moments, if you would, throughout the course of the year, maybe take us through, what those are.
Oh, sure. So one of our big programs that really kind of kicks off the year is opening day. Every league has that opening day out there, and certainly it's springtime. It's a year of renewal. It's we're all out there in our new uniforms, our new clothes, and we're ready to go and take it. So that's always a big thing with the sport of baseball and softball. And we developed an opening day, program. And the great thing about us with working on a national level is that opening day for us spans about 6 to 8 weeks, depending upon where you are in the country. Our southern programs in let's say Florida and California, parts of them are going to be getting going sometime, by President's Day. Whereas us in the Mid-Atlantic or even New England are going to have to wait until, sometime in April or the end of April in order to get going. So, as part of that opening day initiative, we send out, contests for the local league. We have banners that has a sponsor partner on them that the local league can ask for, that we provide, free of charge, for them. It gives an opportunity for people to take pictures with the opening day logos that are out on the field. And then they're pumping that stuff out over social media and through their own channels, and then tagging us, tagging the partners that are involved, and it really is turned into a successful program each year. Each year it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I know we keep printing more and more opening day banners every year, here in the office. That's for sure. After you get through opening day, I mean, we have the tournament trail. The tournament trail is now sort of the tail end of the season, where the local leagues are now going to turn their attention to all-star teams that are going to maybe represent their local league. And they'll start in district and state and eventually regional play. So you have the tournament trail that's going to, each week or every 10 days, they're going to be moving on and on from each tournament. That's going to culminate with the World Series that starts at the end of July and runs through, frankly, 3/4 of the month of August between the 16 different age groups that we have for the World Series. Our World Series events are absolutely fantastic. We we really look at the awards that we pass out. We're not looking to skimp on things. For instance, our partners, even from Rawlings here, they turn around and take the regular baseball, and for Cal Ripken, our colors are orange and black, and they change the laces, to orange and black for the World Series and have the World Series logo on. And I know that we might be chasing some people for foul balls during the World Series to make sure that we have enough, but these turn out to be just nice keepsakes for the kids, and obviously a great promotion for Rawlings, because they're going to be looking and saying, "Hey, where was that ball from?" And that's going to be Rawlings. We have other partners with home run derbies and skill competition at the event, and even down to some of our World Series events have a Babe Ruth experience, which is our version of a fan fest to kind of get people excited and things. And we bring them in, and we have some of our partners that people come to. And the great thing about it is nobody's buying a ticket to get into that. The idea that the parents have traveled all that way, they're trying to figure out how to get hotel rooms and the expense of either hopping in the car or getting an airline ticket. The first thing they come to, there's no charge, to come in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And as I look on your wall behind you, you have a couple of different destinations where it looks like you're going to be holding your Cal Ripken World Series. How many different locations do you have World Series at?
So of the 16 age groups this year, we have 8 different locations. So some of those locations are holding multiple age groups. So for instance, Florence, Alabama has an unbelievable complex that they've even had an $8 million expansion last year. So they're actually going to be doing 8 fields of our Babe Ruth Softball World Series for ages 8 to 18U. And at the same time, they're going to be on other fields doing the 9 and 1170 Cal Ripken World Series on another 4 to 6 other fields on the same complex. So we're really going to be taking over the city of Florence once again this summer, as one of those destinations. Another one is Branson, Missouri. Branson, Missouri hosts our Cal Ripken Major 70 World Series. That one has the most amount of international countries participating. Last year had 15 different countries participating in that event. And piggybacked with that is our 13-16 World Series, which they do everything together. And then once the games start, the 13-16s move over to a complex called Show Me. That's about 30 minutes from the 12-year-old 70 park. Great.
Well, hey, make sure you subscribe and like the podcast so we can make sure we have more great guests like Rob come on. Rob, it's certainly been great having you. The last question I have for you is, obviously you've been in the space for a long time. You've kind of come from the very grassroots local level to now up at the national level. I'm sure you've faced your share of challenges across youth sports. As we kind of embark on 2025, like what is one big challenge you see for? And I'll just frame it out as like all of youth sports. It doesn't have to be specific to youth baseball or Babe Ruth, but as you think about the challenges that we face on more of a national level, what do you think that is for 25?
I think that if you kind of look at today and you compare it to decades ago, maybe when I was growing up to even the time that I was a volunteer. The youth landscape has really changed to where there's a lot more for-profit entities that are in the mix, and not that any of them are bad or anything like that, but there is a lot of opportunity to play a lot of sport. And one of the things that baseball in particular has to grasp about this is that it is all too common anymore that there are significant arm injuries that are a result because kids are playing a lot more baseball at a younger and younger age. And, that's going to translate, into, to Major League Baseball eventually. if it hasn't already, in time. And I think one of the challenges is to set up programs that are able to offer the parents that local league opportunity and community based program where you're playing at the field in your local town, and then be selective about other types of events that you might want to go to on a weekend or in the summertime, so that this way you can kind of balance a little bit, that it's not all in one bucket, because there is that young player that's on the mound is throwing a lot of pitches at a much earlier age now, and I think that's going to be one of the challenges that baseball is going to be confronting in general.
Is that you look out on the, and we were both at ABCA, or the American Baseball Coaches Association convention. They had a lot of great, businesses out there that, were setting up in their exhibit hall, and you saw the arm kind of strengthening devices and equipment. And then you saw some of the technology. Is it a pitch count solution? Is it what's the solution for those young players?
I think it's got to be multi-leveled. I think pitch count is certainly a huge factor. I think that if there's one thing that we pay attention to a lot more because of Major League Baseball, and let's face it, we all want to be Major League Baseball players at one time in our lives, growing up. But there is a great attraction today to the radar gun. Players want to hit that mile per, that 95, 96, 97. And ball players that do that on TV are highlighted for throwing that hard, for that. The problem is that it gets into the number of pitches, it gets into your training schedule. You could talk about the number of games you play. It's really a conversation that you really have to take a deep dive into. That, I know a doctor who was involved in my local league at one time said, at the end of the day, your arm only has so many pitches in it. And, do you want to use it while you're 12 to 13 years old, or do you want to wait and save some of those for maybe when you're in high school or you're, college, or, maybe further down the road? So it really, you have to kind of look at it in multi. I don't think that there's one single thing, but education is another aspect. Parents have to know that, listen, these whatever you're doing when you're throwing a baseball, that there is an impact, and that you need to pay attention to when your kid is out there pitching, to make sure that if they're given signs that they're fatigued or everything, that you have to be able to be strong enough to tell the coach, I don't think he's going to be able to pitch today. So I think that's one of the challenges that baseball faces, probably more so than, certainly football could, somebody who's doing football would talk probably about concussions, injuries and those types of things. Every sport has their one challenge. Baseball, I think certainly pitching is going to be the big thing right now.
No, that's great insight on that. So Rob, if folks want to learn a little bit more about Babe Ruth League, where do they go to find out?
A very easy start is our website. It's baberuthleague.org. We are also on different social media platforms, as far as Facebook and X, that you can find Babe Ruth League. And you can also call us even at 800-880-3142. And we would be happy to talk to you about setting up a local league, or you might even be a parent that's looking for a local league in your area, and we'll try to help you with getting you in contact with a local program where your child will have an opportunity to play.
Well, hey, Rob, really appreciate you coming on to Sponsorable. It's great having you, great catching up, and look forward to the next time we have a chance to talk.
All right, Garrett. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's always fun being with you.
All right.